The slide shows Parshat Truma, and about the tabernacle. And I open up where I wrote here on the slide, I'll read it for you. That's a famous verse. You build me a tabernacle, and I will dwell among them. So v'shachan Hebrew, v'shachanti v'tocham. I will dwell among them, in them actually. Shekhinah is going to dwell in a temple, but in them, Now, here is a miracle. One of the greatest miracles of the Torah. Some people describe it. Look at the word v'shachanti, I will dwell. So v'shachanti here, you can take off, remove the word shin kaf nun, shachan, then you end up with a taf yud. Taf is 410. So if you remove the shachan from shachanti, you end up with 410, which is the number of years that the Solomon temple stood. Okay, that's a miracle by itself. Now it's another miracle on the same word. If you remove it from shachanti, you remove the shin nun yud, which means sheni, second, take it out, and you end, if you take out minus sheni, as I say, shachanti minus sheni, you move shin nun yud out, you end up with taf kaf, which is 420. It happened that 420 is exactly the number of years that the second temple stood. So Shachanti alludes to two temples. First temple, Taf Yud, stood 410 years, and the second temple, take Sheni out of Shachanti, you get the number of years of the second temple. So some famous rabbis were struck so much with this. Khatam Sofer, for instance, great sages of the 19th century, said that this, when he was young, that made him believe in the Torah. That's that statement. How could it's possible that Hashem says here, "V'shachanti, I'm dwelling among them"? Turn out that he alluding to the two temples. Of course, there's a question: where is it? Third temple? When time comes, we will know. Maybe it's hidden there too. Now let's say another point about this statement. Build me tabernacle v'shachanti b'tocham. Build me a tabernacle so I can dwell in them. It's a commandment. It's one of the 613 official commandments listed by the Rambam and by the Sefer Achinu, which means a commandment applicable to all time. It does not depend on Messiah. It depends only on our capability, political capability, as well as our willing, of course. But whenever it's possible for us, we need to build the temple. Of course, right now, it's impossible to do it politically. So, but the mitzvah is there. And it's not different than taking the Lulav or taking any mitzvah of the Torah. So it's a eternal commandment to build a temple. There's only one difference, according to the Rambam. The mitzvah, the Rambam is very particular. He says it's a mitzvah to build a temple ready to build, to bring the sacrifices. So it means that the sacrifices themselves are not necessarily be done again, only the house, according to the Rambam. Where does it come from? How does he know? How can he write such a thing? Because it depends on the famous debate when this parsha was given to Israel. according to the simple text here, to the text, the chronological text, it was given right up in Sinai, right after the Ten Commandments. And that's the idea of the Ramban, Nachmanoides. But the majority of commentaries, Rashi, Ramban, and many others, Ibn Ezra, it's actually it's a chronological order is mixed here. In fact, Parsha Truma or Parsha is actually should come after the golden calf, when it came down the second time on the Yom Kippur, and he ordered the Israel to build the temple. Why? What's the difference if it's done before golden calf or after golden calf? You can ask, and the answer is very simple. If according to the Rambam and Rashi, if it's given after the golden calf, it was really only a remedy, a concession to Israel. Initially, God didn't have an interest to give us a commandment to offer sacrifice. He doesn't need the sacrifice. And he thought that we don't need it. But once he saw that Israel messed up with the golden calf, they need something tangible. After all, we are all human beings, and especially those days. So he made a concession. Fine, if you're so entrenched in this tangible thing, build me a temple like all the other nations, and sacrifice for me like anybody else sacrifice, but only in one place, only as I tell you, and nowhere else. So if it's done as a concession to Israel, then the Rambam is very particular. He says, okay, in that case, if you build me a temple, a third temple, make it ready. But don't think for a minute that Hashem wants you to bring another slaughter animal at your stage of evolution, mental evolution. Humanity today doesn't need any more tangible thing like those days. So that's why the Rambam is particular. He says the commandment, build me a tabernacle, apply only to the house, ready with all the vessels, but please, no animal, no blood, because you don't need it. It was only a concession. According to the other view, the Ramban, Nachmanoides, who saw that, we said that it was given chronological right after the Matan Torah, is connected to the Torah, and in fact, the house is right. Was not a concession. It was a placement of menucha for rest for the Shekhinah, and has nothing to do with the golden calf. Could be that even the Ramban, if you want to think about it, maybe if you squeeze the Ramban to the wall, he will admit, he said, okay, I understand, I separate between the house and the offering. So I would agree that the offering may be a concession, but the house itself is a pre-design before the golden calf to have the Shekhinah in it. And I think that posture is what we are following today. That to separate the offering from the house itself. In that case, okay, now I understand that the mitzvah is to build a house, and in fact, from the whole parsha, there was only the vessels, according to the Rambam, there was only mitzvah to build a house. The Ramban doesn't say anything about the vessels in it, the table, the ark, the menorah. They are part of the house. Besides three things, I mean the house, and then the showbread, it should be placed all the time, and lightening the candle of the menorah all the time. So there are three commandments associated with the vessels, but not the making of the vessels. Okay, so according to the Rambam, we follow the Sefer HaChinuch, there is a mitzvah, positive mitzvah to build a house, and there was no special commandment to build the vessel themselves. Beside the showbread that you should place all the time, and we'll see in a minute why. And also the candle of menorah should lighten also all the time. The Nachmanoides, on the contrast, says no. It's not only the house, but you should count the vessel also as separate commandment. Table has its own. You should make me a table. You should make a table. It's a commandment, not different than a house. You should make me a holy ark. You should make, and so on. Every vessel, menorah, has its own positive mitzvah because it stands for its own values, and it's not just about a part of the house. Okay, we can talk more about it, but I'd like to move on and to understand what the Ramban is saying. What the Rambam is saying that there is a special merit, importance for every vessel. So what are the vessels? The vessels are the table, the table that stood on the northern part of the room, and the golden altar, a small golden altar by the entrance for incense, and the menorah. We take the view that menorah stood, let's say, on the southern wall, and the holy ark on the western wall, separated by partition. And the holy ark had the mitzvah, the poles placed on it to carry it were placed there forever. That's also a positive commandment. And actually it protruded through the partition like two breasts of a woman, Talmud says. So think about the Shekhinah, the metaphor here, the breast, the protruding forward, the poles through the partition. So let's talk about the vessels and what they symbolize. Because they have its own, each vessel has its own merit. According to the Ramban, they have a separate positive commandment. So what is the table standing for? The table was, I'll read it for you. You should make me a table. You should make a table from shittim wood, and you should cover it or go from outside and inside. So it was like a wooden table. Dimension is written in the Torah, covered from the top, from outside and inside with gold. So what does it stand for? It stands for the Shulchan stands for the bread that was placed in it, the showbread. There were 6 layers of showbread on a special structure, and each 6, because it's against 6 days of the week. Each level contain 1 isaron, a measure of flour, of bread, against the manna that each person in Israel in the desert wilderness, each person got 1 isaron. So on each day the showbread was one isaron against the manna measure, to remind us that our food comes from the king. Oh, let me stop here and give you a midrash that can explain it. Okay, the midrash says like this: why do we need a temple? Hashem gave us a Torah, Parshat Yitro, Mishpatim, the law, and now suddenly the temple. So he said, think about a king, a famous king, an awesome king, who had a precious daughter that he loved so much, part of him. And then he found a good husband for her, important one, and he agreed to give the daughter, his beloved daughter, this was the only daughter he had. He gave it to this man, precious man, and he told the man, look, I gave you my daughter, but she's my only one. And I love her so much, so I want to visit you. In fact, you don't know if I will be with you most of the time. Every time I walk there around, I'll be there in your house checking on her, on your relationship with her and so on. I love her. So please agree to give it to you as a wife, but please, in your home, make me a little tracline, a little chamber that I can sleep over. You may not see me even. I come in and out, but I'll be there. On that condition, I'll give it to you. Because I cannot live without her. I need to visit her. Now the husband, of course, agree, but he also understands that the fact that the king, the awesome king coming to visit him, is a gift for him. It's very important for him. Make him an important person. Also, he has now connection to the king itself. He knows that if he lives well with his wife, with the Torah, the king will love him too. And everything he asks the king, openly or not, the king will understand and operate. He may not see the king. The king is awesome and maybe invisible. He may dress up in different clothes. When he comes, he doesn't want anybody to see him, but the king is there all the time, present. He feel it. But he knows that if the king is watching him, if he treats well the daughter, the Torah, the king will love him, and he will love the king. So that's also midrash, and tell you here the relationship. So when we build the tabernacle, Hashem tell us after giving the Torah, build me a tabernacle that I can visit you. And I will sleep there. So make me a menorah, keep me shulchan, table. So people think that the king needed. Oh, you build a menorah, you build a table that the king can eat and to smell good. But people really understand the story. They know the king doesn't need those things. The very presence of the king actually provides for the host. The only benefit from that is the host. The host has the most benefit from the king when he visits him. So whatever is placed in a tabernacle, menorah, to light, a table to eat, ignorant idolaters think, oh, they worship the God, the God needed. They don't understand that the table, a menorah, and the altar is not for the king, it's for the host. The host gets the most benefit. here we are with the table. God doesn't need the table to eat, but the table, the Zohar says, is a source of all bread in the world. All the material things we need come from the table. That's why it's gold from inside and out. Gold means material things. And the crown that the table had, the malchut, his kingship, human kingship. At the beginning, it was available to many kings. Saul and anyone could be a king of Israel. After David took the king, and it's for only him and his seed. So the crown is already taken by David. But the whole idea of the table is to provide food, material food for the entire world. The Zohar says to create food for the entire world. And the showbread are showing you that everything comes from heaven. That even the food that you eat, the material things that you eat, the company that you set up, the wealth that you create, it's not you, it's God giving to you. It's all part of the table, golden table. So it serves the host rather than the king. Now, opposite, once a week, by the way, it was the six days a week that you walk. And on a Sabbath, the Levite, the Torah says the Shabbat should always be there to meet. So when they replace it with the system, with the new system, the Levites were careful, they were expert in moving in such a way that for a minute, there was not 1 minute that the table was without bread. At the same time, there couldn't be twice. There couldn't be two sets. So they exercise it in such a way, they remove it fast, and they put the other one fast, so to make sure that those two conditions should apply. And it turned out that during the week, we eat from God. On the Sabbath, the Levite ate those showbread. So on the Sabbath, we eat from what we prepare for the Sabbath. So the Sabbath, you don't cook, you don't prepare. You eat for what you prepare all week long. Okay. We can go more about that, but I want to move on to the symbolism of the Holy Ark now opposite the table. The Holy Ark was made also by 3 levels, 3 blocks: gold, wood, sheeting wood, and gold. So there's 2 systems, gold, wood, gold, but complementary each other, because the essence of the table was the gold. You could get rid of the wood, but you need gold. The ark is the opposite. The essence of the ark is wood. You could build an ark only with wood, and gold didn't matter. So they are complementary each other. One is more the wood, which is the wood of the tree of life, that the Torah inside the Holy Ark. So that's why wood is important, as opposed to gold, which is our wealth during the week, material thing. So this is spiritual benefit to the world, Torah, the Torah in it, as opposed to the material thing. Now, on the ark, there were 2 cherubs. As Rabbeinu Bachim said, those 2 cherubs were Elohim, mean that the attribute of justice and the attribute of mercy, holding hand in hand, wing against wing, like it was in Eden. And a space under the cherubs, this is a space of Shekhinah, so to speak, dwell. That's where Moses heard the voices. and all the prophets of Israel heard it from that space under the wing of the cherubs. They were a face of a boy and a girl looking at each other with love. And they're complementary to the table because the table was removed in the holidays out for the people to see. Whereas the Holy Ark was removed only in time of traveling and war. So it's a complementary system. And the Shekhinah would sit on the Holy Ark, speak to us. That's a king visiting, unseen, the host, the husband of the daughter, and she speaks to us through the daughter, through the Torah. What a metaphor! The Torah is a way God to speak to us. You have in this statement, you have the whole Hasidut. The whole Hasidut movement based on that statement. So the Torah is not just law. It's the word of God speaking to us. So the Shekhinah sits on the Holy Ark and she communicates with the husband, with us, through the daughter, through the Torah. The king comes and says to his daughter, tell him this, tell him that. And the king is even in kindness, he wants the husband to succeed. He give him the 6th commandment, 7th commandment. He give him 613 commandments. Follow me and you will be, I advise you to be successful. I know, I'm the king, I know. So the Torah is now in the box under the cherubs, in the Holy Ark closed door. And this is the way, alphabetical way. Torah is composed of 22 letters. And through these 22 letters, she communicates to us, to the owner, to one who married to the Torah. So it's complementary. So this is now and there's a crown around it. The crown, the golden crown, is free to everyone to take. The golden crown of the table was taken by David, but the golden crown of the Holy Ark, you can take it, I can take it, he can take it, she can take it. Anyone who studied Torah, it's free. And let's move on to talk more about it, but let's move on to the symbolism of the other vessels. The other vessel is a golden altar by the entrance, which is for instance. From a person who doesn't know anything, you say, that's just idol worship here. Put incense, it smells good. They don't understand that the golden altar stood exactly opposite the outer altar from copper outside in the back in the yard, where they offering as a concession for what? For kapara, for atonement. And by the way, okay, according to the Ramban, according to Moshe Feinstein, the shulchan, the table is the idea that we eat from the food that God gave us. That's the main message of the Torah. Ikar Torah. Moshe Feinstein is the greatest halachic authority in the last century, and he writes the idea that we eat from the table from God, and that's the greatest message of the tabernacle. And then, of course, Ramban says, no, the ark, the Torah. The Torah is the main message of the tabernacle. That's where the Shekhinah dwell, of course. But now we understand that there's another important element of the tabernacle, which is the essence of the, if you want, that's the essence, and that's the atonement, because the whole idea of tabernacle was given to Moses when he came down after the golden calf and saying to Israel, I forgave you, build me a tabernacle. So now the small golden altar at the entrance, and there is continuation on the outside, which stood exactly the opposite. They were careful to put exactly the opposite, the copper one, present confession, repentance, atonement, and that's, my friend, is the essence of the tabernacle. The Yom Kippur service in the temple, up to today, until today in the synagogue, this is the holiest, the most important day of the year of our life. Atonement, that's why we can start again. Without this, we would be eliminated long ago. God gave us opportunity to repent, to refresh, start again. So that's the essence of the tabernacle. So each vessel stand up suddenly as a separate mitzvah. I cannot include it only in the house. The Ramban is right. Consider each vessel as its own merit. And atonement, nobody can say that atonement is not important. It's the essence. So we have one more vessel. One more vessel to discuss is the menorah. The menorah, which stood either on the southern part, opposite the table. The table stood on the northern wall, and the menorah stood on the southern wall. Or according to the Rambam, it stood actually across from the partition on the western wall. So on the partition that separated the ark on one side, the menorah stood in front of it. That's the idea of the Ramban, and the others say no, it was on the southern wall, and it has also one candle that has to be lightened tamid forever, so that the showbread has to be tamid. Tamid means from night to morning, according to Talmud. And the menorah, at least one of the candle of the menorah, the western candle, whatever it is, this western candle of the menorah was also supposed to burn from night to morning, tamid. So there is a parallelism between them. So what is the menorah standing for? The Torah is in the Holy Ark. So what is the menorah standing for? Turn out the menorah is standing for the mitzvot. The candle are mitzvot, and the light that come out of it is the Torah. You would think the other way around. You would think, okay, I'm doing mitzvot, I have to learn Torah so I can do mitzvot. The other way around. You do mitzvot. Then you ask yourself, oh, why do I need it? Why do I do it? Oh, it says so and so. Then you open up the Torah, you open the Talmud, you learn. So the mitzvah you do entices you to learn Torah. You go from the real doing it to learning. That's what they say Naaseh. When they accepted Torah on Sunday, say, let's first do it, and then we will learn about it. So the light that spread out from the menorah, and I thought the idolater will come here and say, oh yeah, those stupid people, they put menorah for the key for God. You don't understand that the light was not for God, for the horse, not only for the horse, but for the entire world. How do I know? Because the windows, Talmud says, the windows above the menorah that open up to the world, they were they were like any other window in the world. Because most of the window of the world, when you build a castle, the window outside is narrow entrance, and it open up inside the door, inside the building, big opening. So the light can spread into the wall, in the temple, it was the opposite. From the inside end opening was small, and it widened up as it went out to the outside, as if it's designed to spread the light to the world, the light of Torah to the world. And the menorah is opposite the table, the light of the table, the gold shine light, and opposite the golden ark. And all the light in the chamber are spreading to the entire world. So the benefit of the king coming to visit his daughter and to the host, so it's not only for the host, it's for the entire universe. The king is here. Otherwise, the king is so busy, so aloof. He is not here. But he is here is because he come and visit we come and visit whoever learned Torah. And that benefit spread out to the entire world. So now we understand. And by the way, the menorah had six we call it cans, or 7 lights. So the middle one is the Sabbath, and the 6th, or the 6th day of the week. And the symbolism here of the Sabbath supporting the entire week, and so on. So here we have now, in summary, the tabernacle. Talk about the symbolism of the tabernacle, and the benefit it will bring to the entire world. Okay, one more thing. It looked like the king is giving us so much, shower us so much goodness. Does he ask something back in return? What should we do in order to give him back something? If you don't give him back something, it's not right. The father who shower love and goodness on a child without asking anything in back is actually destroying the child. The father must ask something from the child. Listen, my son, I gave you the car, but I demand this and this and this. If you just give him the car, what can he will despise you? He won't even appreciate the car. You must ask something in return in order to close the cycle of giving and taking. It's the meaning to accept goodness without giving something back. It's the meaning, busha, is humiliating, the Zohar says. To receive goodness without saying back again. It's the meaning. God asks you something else. What does God ask you something else? What the king, when he comes to visit you, what can you give him? He owns the world. He owns everything. Can you give anything to God? One thing, Moses says, what in Deuteronomy? What, listen, Israel, what does Hashem ask you for? What? He asks you only one thing, he said, fear him and love him. Not fear for his retribution. That's for children. Fear him as a king. Recognize him. How do I know that this is the right interpretation? Because that's chapter 1 in Genesis. Let us make Adam in our form. He gave us so many things. He made Adam image of God. And he opened up the idolatry option. We ask, and the idolatry option means simply recognize me and don't follow the idols that you love. Love me and not love the idols. Fear me and not fear the idols. Recognize that I am the one who give you those food from the table, the spiritual level from the Torah, the light, the sustenance. Recognize me, that's all. That's all the kid asks. The father asks to the child, I give you a car, just recognize me. Don't think it's automatically, you deserve it. Recognize me, say thank you. That's all. Fear and love. That's why the Holy Temple is a place of prayer. Pray to me. Prayer here means address your tribulations to God whenever you need, but also address me. Recognize me as the one who gave you all this beauty. I think we stop here. You can go on and on. Any question about what I said and from the parsha?